Welcome everyone to Stadium Journey's Obstructed Views, the show where a couple of guys in a couple of countries have a couple of beers and discuss the stadium somewhere in the world and their experiences there. I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.
And we're excited to be here with you again tonight. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the Stadium Journey YouTube channel, like the video, even if you really didn't, we won't tell, and feel free to leave a comment, add to our discussion. And as always, check out stadiumjourney.com for all of our fantastic content. So let's get started. Dave, what are you drinking today?
So last time we were here, I had a beer from a trip out east, and, I couldn't just... I don't know. Which way is east here?
They're all of them are up north to me.
They're all north. Anyway, I couldn't just leave with just one, especially since, it's not a big deal to cross provincial borders. So we went to, we were in Fredericton. We went to a nice brew pub called Pump House, and it's based, the brewery is actually based in Shediac, which is in New Brunswick, and really is known for having a giant lobster, and that's Shediac. Like, when I say giant lobster, it's like a 20 by something, and kids climb on it, and when you come into New Brunswick, you go to Shediac, you stop, go to the bathroom, and get your kids' pictures done at the giant lobster. Anyway, so this was Pump House Brewery, and I have a Fire Chiefs Red Ale. It's a little bit heavier than I expected. It's a little bit more Guinness. It's kind of like a Guinness. I don't even want to know. I can't even say it's light enough to be a light Guinness. It's just Guinness, not quite as strong, if that makes sense, which it probably doesn't. So,
no, I know exactly what you mean by that.
What do you got?
And I think we kind of got a theme going with our beers today. I actually was on a Stadium Journey trip, not as far as Fredericton for you. I was only in Worcester. I was covering division. I actually did a doubleheader. This is the first for me, I did simultaneous reviews. 2 games going on in the same facility at the same time. An ADD special. I was at the Worcester, let me get the name right because it's got a corporate sponsor, the Fidelity Bank Worcester Ice Center, which is a new-ish center. It's probably about 8-9 years old now. Not too far from Polar Park in that section, in the Canal District section of Worcester. It's got 2 rinks. So they host many of the teams in the area. They also happen to host several of the local colleges. There's only one Division I school in all of Worcester. Worcester's got like 10 colleges in the city. You wouldn't think it, but they do. But all of them play the Division II, Division III level. Many of them play here at the Worcester Ice Center. The night I was there, Assumption happened to be playing. They're the lone Division II school. And Worcester State actually happened to be playing. So they were each playing in a rink. So I was kind of bouncing back and forth doing double reviews. In the ground floor of the Worcester Ice Center is a brew pub. Score. So after doing simultaneous reviews, I needed a cold beverage. You can actually grab the cold beverages and bring them up to the games. Double score.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got everything you could ever want. But anyway, I'm sitting there. I ordered a lobster mac and cheese. We were talking about lobsters. I got lobster mac and cheese. I don't know how I remember that, but you said lobster. It rang something. And I was having beer. I was having a different kind of beer. Okay, so I looked in the cooler. They have a to-go cooler there. And something caught my eye. I caught the glimpse of a Hail to the Chief beer with a picture of Johnny Busick on it. So, of course, I had to grab a 4-pack and bring it home. Hail to the Chief is a New England IPA. What's a New England IPA? I don't know. On the can, it said it has strong hints of lemon, orange, and grapefruit. So once you hit grapefruit, it's really not in my wheelhouse, but I'll drink it anyway because the can is cool. So there you go. So you got a Fire Chief. I got a Hail to the Chief. You went to a brew pub with a giant lobster. When I picked up this beer, I was eating lobster. So there we go. If you're visiting today's destination, you might be drinking a certified evil oatmeal stout from Lucky Bucket Brewing, because today we're talking about Werner Park and Papillion, Nebraska, home of the Omaha Storm Chasers. Before we dive in, let's take a look at the stadium vitals. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Omaha Storm Chasers. I think to properly tell their story, we need to go back a little ways. And the Storm Chasers were born or played for a long time. I don't know if they started, but for a long time they were known as the Omaha Royals. And they played downtown at historic Rosenblatt Stadium, which they shared with the College World Series. It was the College World Series has been played since the 40s or the 50s, I believe, in Omaha. It's been been the permanent home for it. They shared the stadium for a long time, but when it became time to replace Rosenblatt, because it was, let's face it, it was older. We've talked before about places like Old Silver Stadium in Rochester, places like that needed to be replaced eventually. Same thing happened in Omaha. At that time, the Royals and the College World Series decided to part ways. The College World Series continued on in downtown Omaha at TD. Oh, I don't know what it is now. It was when
Charles Schwab Field.
Thank you, because I remember it as TD Ameritrade Park or something. And anyway, the Storm Chasers ended up out in the prairie. Actually, not that far outside the city. It's only 15 miles away, but it seems like it's way out in the sticks in a town called Papillion. Mm-hmm. How did that all come about?
Well, it's a simple. It's actually a very simple way to look at it. Look at the capacity. I mean, the College World Series just finished yesterday as we're recording this, and the capacity at Charles Schwab Field is about 24,000. Rosenblatt at one point was the second largest minor league ballpark behind only Buffalo. So I think you had a bit of a what you see in the Florida State League, right? You've got these big stadiums, and then for one event or very something specific, and then the everyday guy it's just way oversized. So
right.
Funny enough, Werner Park to me, walking in, looking at it, sitting, walking around, I was like, this is not a AAA park. It just felt so much smaller. One tier seating, not that that's totally unheard of, in AAA. It's actually like the second smallest, I believe now, only behind St. Paul, which wasn't built as a affiliated AAA park either, right? It was built as an independent stadium, and basically minor league baseball said we can't afford for them to be on their own.
Yeah, generally AAA parks are built in the neighborhood of 10,000 seats, give or take.
Yeah, you're looking at it, capacity is 9,000 at Werner Park, but reality is that there's only about 6,000 seats. Really? It probably has what I would say is the biggest berm seating area in AAA. It's
foul pole to foul pole.
Essentially, it's like the whole outfield. Yeah. I don't think you could sit in the batter's eye, but other than that, you can. Now, when I went, a little bit dated. They didn't have the huge variety of types of seating that you see now in a lot of minor league parks. Your picnic seating, your club seating, and your regular seating, and your berm seating, and your, kids are playing in the playground, can't see anything seating, and
social gathering areas, picnic area A, B, C.
Yeah. At that time, it was a little smaller, or a little bit less variety. So you had kind of your regular seating area. You had huge berm seating. And yeah, generally it just feels a whole lot smaller. And, if Omaha's drawing 3,000, which is about what they've been drawing, I'm not sure if they drew more when they were at Rosenblatt or less or whatever, but can you imagine 3,000 fans in in a stadium that holds like 25,000.
Exactly.
That'd be pretty meh.
And that's kind of the trend now with the newer parks in AAA. They used to, for a while, it was always, let's build it bigger, let's build it bigger, because when we do that fireworks night, we need 12, 15,000 seats. But even like a new park, like say, we've done Worcester, we've done an Obstructed Views about Worcester. They built that with 9,000 seats, 9,500 seats, because most days, like you said, you're not going to fill it. You're not going to fill 10,000. You don't need that bigness. Bigness? That's a word now. So, yeah, build it smaller so it doesn't look so cavernous and empty. It's funny that you mentioned it looks so small. My thought when I first entered it, because I think my first trip there was, I think, in 2017, back when they were even in the American Association. We can talk about that in a minute.
PCL.
There wasn't
PCL 2017.
Were they PCL? All right. Well, anyway, yeah, it's been reorganized since then. But there wasn't a whole lot of development around the ballpark. It was kind of sitting there all by itself. So to me, it looked very much like a ballpark in the middle of nowhere would look. It was very spread out, very open.
Yeah.
It had really large concourses, very spacious concourses. There was no way you were ever going to be crowded on those concourses. The seating bowls, like you said, single tier, very, sloped, very comfortable looking, and you could walk all the way around. And like you said, it had that giant berm, almost from foul pole to foul pole, with a couple of picnic areas or party areas out there, and so much room out there. They have a basketball court out there. They have a wiffle ball field out there. There's just room to just spread out everywhere. That was my first impression of it.
It was one of the, and maybe growing up like with the Sky Dome and whatnot, it was one of the first places that really kind of redefined what a ballpark was to me. Because I always thought, Sky Dome is enclosed, everything's in. So when you talk about the stadium or the ballpark, you're talking about you walk in the doors. Werner Park, it's not like that. It's like you step past the gates. And everything within those gates is ballpark. So you have your physical stadium part, but then you have a building over here, which is the team store. And you have, two or three buildings over there, which are separate, like physically separated, that hold concessions and whatnot. And it was very, if you look at it from above, very piecemeal kind of looking. But it really helps redefine what ballpark means. And it was probably also one of the first ones where it was really relevant to have that big 360-degree walk, which my wife loves. If it doesn't have a 360-degree walk, she's not really happy about it.
As Pam is the same way. So, yeah.
And I think in Omaha, they had mile markers with how far you were walking. Like, if you start at this point and you walk this far, you've done
one third of a mile.
Third of a mile. Yeah.
What else we touched really briefly? They've kind of bounced around. There's been 3 AAA leagues for a while, and now there's 2. And so I think Omaha's played in all 3. Kind of the drawback or the advantage of being in Nebraska.
Yeah, they started out in the American Association, which I think died in the 80s or whatever. It got absorbed into the International League and then the Pacific Coast League. And I think probably Iowa and Omaha were the ones that kind of went west, which they were definitely the most east of the West in the Pacific Coast League.
Of the East.
Yeah. So now, since they've reorganized minor league baseball again, they've moved from the Pacific Coast to the International League. And I think, the mentality changed, right? Like, we don't have to have like each league with the same number of teams. So I think it's like a 2010
split.
2010. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it works. Once they moved to the International League, they moved to Werner Park. They ceased being the Omaha Royals, and they became the Storm Chasers. And they really try and dive into that motif as much as
such a superior nickname for a team.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you could do so much more with it. Like here, a little thing. I don't know if you noticed this. I probably didn't notice this when I was there. But in researching it later, the parking lots, they have 5 parking lots. They're labeled F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, which are
I didn't notice that.
stages of tornadoes, I guess, or I guess that's how you measure a tornado or whatever.
Yes.
They have more They might have more mascots than players.
Where do you see the pictures I send you?
Oh my gosh, they have Stormy and Vortex, and I think maybe the best one, Tsunami. And then there's one that's like a pork chop or a steak or something.
That's not counting the steak and the corn on the cob.
Yeah. there's a lot going on there. A lot going on. I think a couple of things that surprised, well, maybe not surprised me. I guess surprised me. So one, the statue when you walk in that greets you, Bob Gibson. Yes. I had no idea, but Bob Gibson is from the area. Probably
that's one of those things. Why is there a Bob Gibson statue? Is he from the area? Oh, look at that. He is.
Probably the most impressive thing about the entrance, because the entrance is very, very low profile, very subdued.
As is the whole ballpark, yes.
It's not, partially it's that the field level is lower. So you're kind of coming in at the top end sort of thing. And it's just not huge. You do have kind of a who's who have played for the Royals or the Storm Chasers.
Another reason to take that 360 trip, because they're on jersey shaped placards all around on the light poles and such.
Yeah, you've got your Royals royalty.
Sure.
You got George Brett, Dick Hauser, Frank White. Those are all Kansas City retired numbers as well. In the not too distant future, you're going to see names like probably Eric Hosmer. That's retired. Bobby Witt Jr. went through. They've had a crazy amount of success. 8 titles from 1969 through 2024. 60s, 70s. Oh, they didn't have one in the 80s, but just about every 10 years they're sort of winning the whole thing. And like it or not, the Storm Chasers are following the crowd, and they have been, when they were the Omaha Royals, they were owned by the Kansas City Royals, and then they've changed hands a number of times. Possibly one of their most famous minority owners, Warren Buffett, who is
really,
of course, makes his home in Omaha, and might be the most not
Warren
famous.
Warren Buffett lives in Omaha.
Yeah, yep.
With all the places that man could live, he picked Omaha.
Picks Omaha. That's
interesting.
Maybe that's how he's a billionaire. I could move to New York, but but anyway,
hey, no shade thrown at Omaha. I really love the city, so I've visited there a few times, and I really love it out there.
We didn't spend a ton of time there, but anyway, they are owned by Diamond Baseball Holdings now,
right?
Like just about every other,
like everybody else, team. Right? We're talking about like it or not, some things that are changing. They've got an excellent alternate identity as well.
Oh.
The Runzas. And we went there, we saw all this Runza gear. Like, what the heck's a Runza? It's something you can only get in the Nebraska area. It's like this pocket filled with cabbage and meat and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And you can only get it, but it's not something you can go to any restaurant and order. You can only get it at a certain restaurant called Runza.
Oh.
It's like a chain out there that they sell only Runzas. And unfortunately, we couldn't sample it the last time we were there because it's only open. It's Omaha, right? So everything closes at 9. Right. So we couldn't try one, but everybody who's had one said they are fantastic.
Yeah, unfortunately for us, it was a pass through. We were on our way to Denver. It was a stop, a good stop, right? But to be honest, I don't even know if we did much of anything. If anything, we might have stayed in Omaha. But yeah, we pretty much were in in Papillion, which has pretty much no neighborhood, really. I mean, it is farmland around there.
But more stuff to do than my last visit in 2019. But you're talking about the area and as it being a pass through, and I think that was the whole premise of that show. The middle is like you don't stay in that area. You kind of us coastal people just kind of fly over. But the area is ripe for a great trip because you've got the Storm Chasers, you've got the College World Series if you time it right, and I wish you have gone to a College World Series, one of the greatest sporting events I've ever been to. Maybe I'll have to drag somebody else in and we'll have to do an obstructed views about that. But that's fantastic. You got the Lincoln Salt Dogs, an independent team. Lincoln's not that far away.
Mm-hmm.
Des Moines is, I think, a 2-hour trip to the east. And you've got Sioux City, I think only a couple hours to the north. So there are a lot of teams in the area. So you could build a pretty good stadium road trip just in that area.
And of course, depending on your timing, and I'm not sure how minor league baseball is going to fit in. Maybe, well, it does go into September now.
Yeah.
So get yourself down to Husker Land and take in a game at one of the 18 million memorial stadiums in the States. We stopped. My boss at the time was a huge Nebraska football fan, so I think we made an 8:30 stop at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, and you could actually, this is one of those ones you could walk right in. There was a gate.
Yep, we did the same thing.
There was a gate there that wouldn't let you walk into the stands.
But there's a little ledge with a viewing platform you can go to.
But you can take pictures and whatnot. So yeah, we did that. That was pretty cool. And
our colleague Lloyd Brown calls that, what is it, the largest stadium with the most bad seats anywhere.
Oh,
because that the way it's built, there are precious few seats on the sides of that stadium and thousands on both end zones.
Gotcha.
Because the way they've expanded is they just built more and more up the end zones. So I don't know. But yeah, definitely one of the places to be. And Lincoln is maybe only an hour from the area. So and Omaha, not like you were saying, not a fancy stadium, but definitely got some things we're seeing and definitely an interesting stadium journey to be had.
Definitely.
So that's our look at Werner Park. And I didn't call it stadium. I told you. I was going to call it stadium and I didn't do it. So thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. And we hope to see you on the road again real soon. Cheers.
Cheers.